Let's play some games.
Locked in the bunker, shadows shake. One man clapping secrets awake. Board games living, dice they break. Echoes pounding, hearts they quake. In your bunker, board games rolling. One man clapping, stories growing. Hard rock thunder, speakers blowing. Clapping loud, the unknown.
Welcome to the sound of one man clapping. I am the one man coming to you direct from the bunker. It is Monday morning, and after a week off to catch up on lifing, I'm delighted to be back in your ear holes. It's like OnlyFans, but it's free, and you don't have to see my starfish. This is a podcast about board gaming culture, and growing old graciously. This week we're going to go through all the games that were. We're having a bumper crop of FOMOMOFO, because fuck tariffs. And we might just get a glimpse of the mania that is my prefrontal cortex and voices in my head. And if I can remember, we'll even give someone the clap. On with the show. As I did say, it is Monday. That is a day late, although technically it is 8 days late. You may note, if you're a regular listener, all four of you, that there was no episode last week. Just fucking life, guys. You know, work. God, wouldn't it be nice if none of us had to work? If we could just run a GoFundMe for the entire board gaming world? We could all take time off and just play Voidfall. Yeah, work, and then, you know, play lots of board games, which is great. But then adulting, you know, when you've only got 2 days off and you play board games on Saturday and you play board games every Saturday for like 5 weeks, hashtag first world problems. Oh, I just need a day off to do stuff like stacking firewood and laundry and, but I'm back in the chair. Happy to be here. Missed you guys. You know, was a week down on therapy. So, and there it is. I got a coffee. Sun's not up yet. It is cold as fuck, which I know most of you who have not sort of ever set foot in Australia would ever think Australia is cold. Yesterday was 4 degrees. It's 4 degrees. Now, okay, I was born in a very, very cold part of the world. 4 degrees, like, whatevs, let's go play softball. But here, the houses aren't even built for 4 degrees. I don't know what's going on. It's like, well, it's not that cold, so we just won't bother. We'll just make sure that this great big draft hole of a house you live in, where there's no such thing as seals under the doors or seals on the windows or insulation. So yeah, anyway, we got a fireplace. We've been running it hot. We got 4 cubic meters of firewood, and for those of you that are in Freedom units, 4 cubic meters is a fuckload of firewood. It's been sitting in the driveway for about 3.5 weeks while I slowly stack it around the corner. We're warm as toast in the house, but it has been a bit of winter, and it's happy days. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about yes, board games, and a little bit of Lego. We're gonna talk Lego today, because you know I'm a man child. So last 2 weeks on the games that were, Super Trooper and I had an ATO day night. Oh man, it was a ripper too. We did. I talk about ATO a lot on this because we play a fair bit of it. ATO is a monster battler. It's a little bit of a rinse repeat, but also not. The narrative is so immersive and so exhaustive that, you know, in between these sort of battles you're doing, you've got stuff that's keeping you interested. You know, you're upgrading bits of your ship, and you're upgrading your weapons, and you're crafting weapons, and. So in between the battles, you got a lot to do, and it's not a lot to do as in it doesn't feel laborious or a chore, because you can see your Argonauts, you know, getting bigger and better, and the stuff you're carrying into battles getting bigger and better. And Jesus, it has to, because man, we're up to level 4 primal battles, and I remember the first battle we did. We got out there, and I think we lost in 3 rounds. It was just a wipe. Like, it's just a wipe. We were looking at the table going, what the fuck just happened? Is that what? How are we supposed to survive this? This is day 1. But this is a game where, you know, tactics matter, and I think we did a level 4. I think we did one level 4. We're up to level 4 now. Every battle we do is level 4, and we can see the end. We did 7 primal battles on this day. 7. That's a lot, you know, given that a battle can last an hour and a half, maybe a little more sometimes if they're really, you know, getting really hinky. But we can taste the end of cycle 1, you know, for noting this is ATO, and its full glory is 5 cycles. and a cycle is probably, oh man, at a guess, I think we're probably 80 hours deep, and I'm guessing, not counting the 25 hours we threw into it and had a hard fail and a hard reset. So there's 5 cycles. We can kind of feel just the crescendo coming, and so we're so hungry to have another day. In fact, we were going to do it today, but decided that once the sun rises and it warms up a bit, that we're going to go to the park and we're going to feed the ducks right next to the sign that says "Do not feed the fucking ducks." But we're not going to feed them bread because we're not terrorists and heathens. We'll feed them frozen peas because we love the ducks. So that's what we're going to do today, instead of probably playing ATO and maybe finishing ATO. And this is a sign of just how much I love my family. So we did that. We had an ATO 7 primal battle day. Sweet baby jeebas. I think once we finish cycle 1, we're going to just put it on pause, knock over a few other things. Maybe Oathsworn, maybe something else, maybe a little something, maybe another Arkham Horror, because Super Trooper and I do love Arkham Horror. Maybe even Elder Scrolls. I might take Super Trooper down the rabbit hole that is Elder Scrolls. And so then the Peanut and the Fox and I, one night after dinner, we got another game of Bonanza Deluxe. Bonanza Deluxe. Oh, full disclosure, I'm on my first coffee. We played Bonanza Dahlias, house favorite. We've talked about it a million times. I'm not going to bore you with it. We love Bonanza Dahlias. The art is gorgeous, by Beth Sobel. This is a classic game by Uwe Rosenberg, published by Amigo. It's drafting, it's set collection, it's push your luck, it's a little bit of negotiation. It's fantastic. And we followed that up with another house favorite. We've got all the house favorites out of the way this week. We played Spots. Spots by Alex Haig, Justin Vickers, John Perry, art by John Bond, published by CMYK and everybody else. Spots is dice drafting. You're rolling dice, and you are placing on these adorable little cards filled with Dalmatians. Mostly Dalmatians. I think there's one exception. And of course, the Peanut got her favorite dog out. Her favorite dog is, of course, Bert. If you're not familiar with Bert, all the dogs have names and they have cute little poses and they're doing stuff. And Bert has, all right. So the spots, the dogs will have, between 1 and 4 different spaces on them that you've got to load up with dice. If you can't load them up with dice, if you go over, when you push your luck, and again, I'm not going to talk about Spots in detail, but play Spots. Spots is amazing. You wipe all the dice out. If you manage to fill the little card, then on your next turn you can cash that card in. The first person to 6 card wins. Bert has 1 die it needs, and it's the single 1 pip. And that 1 pip is in the card, in the art, in Bert's butthole. And the Peanut thinks this is fucking glorious. And so anytime that Bert comes out on the market, she just burns her turn to collect Bert, because she thinks Bert is fantastic. My personal favorite is Doog. Doog is a cow dressed up as a Dalmatian, and he's hilarious. Spots is a blast. It's 25 minutes. It's always riotous, always laughs, always groans, always people thumping the table. Bones everywhere. Spots. Play Spots. Buy Spots, play Spots. It's fantastic. Into good games, not good games. Into real games, not real games. Into chunkier games. I'll take chunkier. Had a game day at Super Troopers, and we played Rococo. Now, I think I've only ever played one other game of Rococo. Might have been 2. I know it was 1. And I've talked about Rococo before, because Rococo was a surprise to me, in that the day Super Troopers said, hey, we're going to play this game. Here's your homework. Here's your video to watch to learn how to play the game, because it's a little bit heavy. And he sent it to me, and I'm like, we're making fucking dresses? Dude, I want spaceships and maybe anthropomorphic animals, and no, we're making dresses. I'm like, oh, all right, okay, all right. I mean, it looks fine. The art looks fine. Made by Eagle Griffin. Looks fine. To be honest, it looks like a Lacerda. You get into it and you get into the gameplay, it looks like a Lacerda. It helps that the art's by Ian O'Toole, and it's made by Eagle Griffin Games, which means it has the chunkiest of chunky cardboard tokens. The tokens are absolutely robust. They feel like MDF. They feel like microdust fiber wood. They're so heavy duty, and that's sort of the hallmark of the really top shelf Eagle Griffin Games. And so I played Rococo with Super Trooper and Buttercup. Rococo is Buttercup's pride and joy, but Rococo never leaves the house. We have to check into our plastic suits and cotton gloves and face shields when we play Rococo. No coffee at the table, no Cheetos, no chips, no snacks, no coughing, no wheezing, no hiccups. If you blink too much and there's moisture coming out of your eyes, that's why we wear the face shields. Rococo is her precious. And you can see why. It is a beautiful game. And of course, Super Trooper has the playable version with the metal coins and the little plastic spools of thread and the little lace bundles. And so we played with Super Trooper, Buttercup, Project L, and the Cracker, because Rococo plays 5, which is great. And to be honest, playing it at 5, it wasn't an overly lengthy experience. We weren't sitting around the table going, Jesus Christ, how long is this going to go? Because some other Euros, which are amazing Euros, like Obsession, which is an amazing game, at 4. Did we play at 4? I think we played at 5. It was like 27 hours. A great game. Don't get me wrong. I'm not shitting on Obsession. Obsession is fantastic. But Rococo is great. In Rococo, it's, as I said, it feels like a Lacerda. You've got to go to the market and get bales of silk, and you've got to collect thread and lace, and you've got to hire workers, and you've got a hand of cards. It's action selection with the cards. And workers are cards, and you can trash workers. You can send them off to the mines or wherever they're going for cash. I think it is a nicer name. I think you're deporting them to the king's court. But basically, they're going to the mines. You're selling them off to slavery for money. And then you basically buy dress plans. And dress plans equal points. And you can choose to put them into the halls where you're hiring them out to guests for the Grand Gala, which is later on this week. Or you can basically just sell the dress. You sell the dress, you get cash. Because money's tight. Not Darwin's Journey tight, but money's pretty tight in this game. So, Rococo's a delight. It's a delight to look at. It's a delight to play. I will play Rococo anytime. It is so fun. Rococo's designed by Matthias Kramer, Stefan and Louise Maltz, and of course art by Inoue and published by Eagle Griffin Games. Oh, and the Cracker didn't come dead last and celebrate. On from there, this was actually at Super Trooper's annual curry night. Super Trooper hosts a curry night where he puts curries on in the slow cooker in the morning. We have a whole... he has a whole swag of people come around. We fill the day with board games. We fill the afternoon with board games. And then we have this huge, magnificent curry feast. And if we're all feeling like it, we might play Codenames or Landmarks or something that's a little bit lighter, breezier that everyone can get into. So we were there early because I have very serious duties on curry day, curry night. I am the non-bitch. I, of course, am a chef in my real life / past life, but also a pastry chef, also a butcher. So I make fucking killer bread. And so it was my job. It's my job every year to bring the Feast of Naan. And so I had the largest bowl that exists in my collection, constantly burping and bubbling over with naan dough through the day. And so in the afternoon, I saddled up in the kitchen and I set up the naan factory. And we had plain naan, we had garlic cheese naan, we had naan. So much fucking naan bread fucking everywhere. And it was amazing. But anyway, that's what we were all there to do, other than play board games. But after Rococo, Project L has recently purchased Pitch Car. Now, Pitch Car, I think from memory, Pitch Car is it's like an 80s game that's seeing a bit of a resurgence. And Pitch Car is basically crokinole on a track. Okay, so you've basically got all these bits that look like slot car tracks that fill the table and they go round and round and jumps and squiggles and over and there's pits and all kinds of stuff. And then you have these little discs under your cars. And you basically take turns flicking your disc around the track. What you basically do is you take turns flicking your disc off into the buffet or under the couch or Battleship's hair or whatever, and then you pick it up and you bring it back and you put it back where it was. Well, okay, more correctly, that's what I did for most of the game. I actually had to bring the Peanut in because after 12 rounds, I hadn't managed to get over the first jump. And so the Peanut came in and she was like, "Move over, Papa, I got this. I got you." And she actually did pretty well. I think she caught up. I think she still came dead last, but I'd set her up for that, unfortunately, because I was just sitting there flicking this thing into oblivion. Not for me. I can see the delight and I can see the charm. I think for me, Pitch Car will be a better spectator sport than a participator sport. I'm very happy to sit with a coffee or a glass of wine and watch everyone and laugh. And in fact, I think we should be running like a betting table on the side for everyone. The odds change as things happen. And yeah, I think that would be pretty funny. But Pitch Car, it looks great on the table. It's got a very serious retro feel about it. It's got that 80s, kind of those muted colors. And look, as I said, it's not something I would invest in, but I can see the absolute charm in it. And I think that there's, anyone can play. You can be 5 years old, you can be 55 years old, anyone can play. I think at 8, which I think it plays 8, it's like just this clusterfuck of discs just humping each other around the bends for the first 6 or 7 turns. I had fun. Don't get me wrong. I had a load of fun, but I'll be happy to watch next time. It's Pitchcar. Pitchcar's by... Who's Pitchcar by? Jean de Poel, published by everybody, because I think it's been published 15 times since 1984. So I had a little time to kill because, Pitchcar, and I think what happened is after Pitchcar, then the kids wanted to set up and immediately play another round of Pitchcar, so there was a second, derby going around. Set up and played Nar. Now, Nar, I believe I played with, I know, Super Trooper and Project L, and I think the Cracker. I think it was the 4 of us played Nar, and Nar is fantastic. And Nar fits in this teeny tiny little box, and you've got a little ship, and you've got two resources. You've got Torques, which are little sort of armbands, and you've got Recruits, which are represented by little helmets. You've got a board with a track around the outside that goes to 40 points. You've got a track along the inside, which is your reputation track, and you've got recruit cards. And the way NAR works is you've got a hand of cards, and you're going to play one of those cards down onto the table. And the cards are ostensibly, I believe, in 5 colors. And they've got really great colorblind tokens on their icons on them as well. Fantastic. Not that I'm colorblind, but it's nice to see when there's that kind of thing going on. And so if I play the purple card down, it goes into my row of purple cards. You start with 2 on the table, and you're going to build rows. So if I play a purple card down, it goes into the purple row, and the top of the cards is an icon. And that icon will either be a point, a torque, a recruit. It'll be a reputation point. I think maybe that's it. And so when you play a purple into the purple column, you're going to get all of the icons from the top. They all activate. So the longer your column gets, the more bennies you're getting when you play your turn. And then there's a purple column under the board with a market of cards. Now, that doesn't mean there's a purple card underneath. It could be any of the 5 colors underneath because they're randomly drawn from the market. So then you've got to take the card that's under the purple icon. Unless you would like to pay a recruit. You can pay one of your helmets, and you can take whichever one you like. If you're looking for a specific card or a specific benefit, you can do that. And that turn's done. The other thing you can do, once you've got a nice, big, tasty pile of recruits all laid out into this tableau that's just puking resources into you every time you play a turn, is there are 2 markets of places you can raid. That's what it represents. It's Viking game. There's a Viking game. I should have said that up front. Vikings. Fucking Vikings. And so then what will happen is these cards will have a cost on them. And the cards will say 3 purple, 2 green. And you've got to spend 3 purple cards and 2 green cards out of your tableau in order to buy them. So you end up flushing some of your resource generating cards away. And you get this raid card. You've raided. And it sits on top of your player board. Then as a bonus action, you can choose to trade with places you've previously raided because they all have different levels of bennies on them, and you go there by spending torques. A turn takes about 4 seconds. That's one of the delights of NAR. Is it comes around in your turn, you're like, well, I'm going to play this card, get my bennies, move on, or I'm going to cash these cards in to do a raid to get this other place that I can then trade to in future, and it's done. And it's fast. Because you'll look away and look back, and all of a sudden, Super Trooper's on 32 points. Because I don't think I've ever won. I just think he just is either really lucky, or he just absolutely can get his head around, the constantly moving puzzle that's on the table. Because the second it gets to 40, game's over. And so you spend a whole lot of time. It's like, well, there's 1 point, there's 3 points, there's 1 point, there's 1 point. And the reputation track. The thing is, the further you go up the reputation track, they're free points at the start of your turn. So if you can get up towards the end of the reputation track, you're getting 2 and 3 points for free before you've started your turn. So the ramp up on this game is huge. You will spend 70% of the time trying to lurch your way to 18 and 19 points, and then the 30% of the time is the race from 20 to 40. And it's over before you know it. And it's great. It's great. It's easy to teach. It's easy to play. The art's fantastic. It's in a tiny little box. I was overzealous when I saw NAR on Amazon like 1.5 years or 2 years ago. And I bought it, and it arrived, and I pulled it out to play it when Super Tree came over. And I'm like, fuck, these rules are in German. So we're constantly having to, it's not that we have to relearn the rules, but it's like, well, how many cards do you get? when you're starting. How many cards? What's just that's really it. Really, is in different player accounts you have different numbers of starting cards. Nar is a delight. Nar is a fun. I will play Nar any time of the week. It's by Thomas Dupont, art by Antoine Carillon, and published by Bombix. And so into the curry day we went, and Project L pulled out her copy of Faraway. Now, Faraway I had vague notions of because I'd heard some other people talking about it on another podcast. Might have been Down a Banana on Board Game Barbecue. And Faraway is this weird little game. I'm going to say weird in the best way possible because I really liked Faraway. Okay, I'm just going to say that up front. I thought this was really clever. So in Faraway, you are playing a card face down. Let me see if I got this right. You're playing a card face down, and it's got an initiative number on it. And the card will have something else. It'll have some icons, or maybe not. You have some icons on the top right that count towards how many icons you need to collect. It might have a little iconography in the middle that says if you get 4 masks, you get 5 points. It might just have points straight up on it. And then everyone flips their card over, and it goes into your tableau. And your tableau runs left to right. And then in initiative order, you get to draw a new card from the card market. I think there, from memory, are 4 or 6 cards. I think there were more cards than there were people. You get to draw a card that goes into your hand. And then if your initiative increased, so in your tableau it goes left to right. If last turn I played a 2 and this turn I played a 6, then I get to draw one of these little bonus exploration cards that, it's just a little 3-way scoring. It might have more icons on it. It might have a different color on it because you can score based on colors that you're collecting. And then the market resets and you go again. You play a card face down. You flip it over. You go in initiative order. You're drafting a card. It seems like is this a game? I'm flipping a card and I'm taking a card? What is this? It's take a card the game. But once the game's over and you've got your, I can't remember, 8 or 9 or 10 cards left to right, you're going to score them right to left. And the way you do that is you flip them all back upside down and you flip the last card you played over. And that card might say, well, score 3 points if you have 3 masks. Well, that's 3 masks that are on this card or to the right of it. So you flip that over and you go, fuck, all my masks are hidden still. So you flip the next card from the right and it'll say if you've got 2 blue cards, get a point for each blue card. And you're like, oh, well, this is a blue card and the one to the right's a blue card. So I get a couple of points, but everything else still face down. You can't see it. And so you've got this magnificent, you're building your little engine from left to right. It's a one-way engine, but it's going to play out. It's going to run from right to left. Oh, it was really good. So you want your highest scoring, hardest cards to be played first. Right? I had this card that said I had to have 6, I don't know what they were, little squiggles. And if I got 6 little squiggles, I was going to get like 14 points. Now, 14 points it's a huzzah amount of points in Faraway. And so I basically had to spend the rest of the game making sure I had these little squiggles on the tops of the cards. So when I finally flipped that card over, it was I think the second card I played, which means it's the second last card. Everything I needed to score that card was there. It is a brain-burning little delight that, it's technically a spatial puzzle, but it only runs in one direction. And it was fantastic. The art's a delight. I have no idea what is on these cards. They're like little mushroom folk or... I don't know. I don't know what the theme is. The theme could be anything. The theme could be... you could glue anything on this, right? It's irrelevant. The art is clever. It's nice. It's pretty. It's colorful. It's just a bunch of cards. And it was a blast. I had a really good time. And everyone should play Faraway. Except for people that hate spatial puzzles. You should not play Faraway because you will hate it. And Faraway is by Johannes Gupi, Corentin Lebras, art by Maxime Morin, published by 19 different publishers. There's literally, published by, and I can see why. There's a bunch of cards in a box. It probably cost them $3 to make. It probably cost $25 to buy. And it's easy to teach and fun. Play Faraway. I played Faraway. I will play Faraway again. Oh, having a good day this day. I think it was about now we cracked the wines, maybe. So yeah, things went downhill. We just had a really good time. So after that game that I brought along, that I really enjoy, and the first time you play it, you go, "That's it." That's because the game takes almost longer to teach than it does to play, and not really. It's probably an 8-10 minute teach, but the game's only 15 minutes long if you are pushing hard. and that's River Valley Glassworks. So I played River Valley Glassworks. I think it was... who was playing River Valley Glassworks? I know it was Super Trooper, Project L. The Cracker joined us for that one as well? Yeah, the Cracker joined us for that one as well. So River Valley Glassworks, you've got this delightful board, and I have the deluxe version. So the boards are dual layered, and you've got this neoprene mat in the middle of the table, which is your river, and you've got these clear acrylic tiles that sit on the river, and they have little stones on them. And what you're going to do is you have a little pan of stones, like you've been panning for gold, and you're going to take the stones, and the stones are in 8 colors in 5 shapes, and they're random. So like the blue stones aren't all the same shape, for example. There's a little bit of each. And you're going to take a stone, and if it's the little pear shape, you're going to play it into the river on the tile that has the pear shape on it. You can only play it into that one. So you're going to play it into the tile that has the pear shape on it, and then you're going to take all the stones from from the tile on either side. So let me try this again. You've got about 5 tiles that are all in a row. They're like chevrons. They're all connected in a row, and they form the river. They're preceded with stones. You will play a stone from your resources to collect other stones from the river. That might be clearer. However, each of the tiles has a shape on it of the 5 different shapes. So they're ostensibly, ovoid, little triangles, there's a hexagon, there's a pear shape, there's a diamond. And so you have to play the stone onto the tile that matches the shape to collect the stones from the adjacent tile. I think that's clearer. I might pause and get another coffee in a minute. And then those stones have to go into your glassworks in a collection. You're collecting them in columns of matching color from left to right. You've got 8 columns, or 7 or 8 columns, whatever it is, 7 columns. And so your blue stone, if it's your first stone, goes in the first column on the left, and then your yellow stone will go in the next column. If you collect another blue stone, it has to go in the blue stone column. And then you've got a little counter on the left of your board, and you move that up. Each stone you collect, you have to move the counter up, because you can only collect 17 stones. Once anyone collects 17 stones, the game is over. So if somebody then spends a turn and they collect 5 stones in one turn, that's a third of the game timer almost, like, gone. Fuck y'all. Right? So because you could really look around the table and go, well, I'm just gonna cracker this and go, game's over, motherfuckers. And it's really clever. It's clever. It seems uber light until you finish your first game and you do the scoring and you go, I see what I did there, what I did potentially wrong or didn't see. Because you're going to score based on how many rows you've completed or how far your rows have gone. And then you're going to score your 2 tallest columns of stones for their height. The kicker on this is the columns on the further right of the scoreboard are worth way more points. Like to the point where I think the first column's worth 5 points, the last column's worth 22. So what you want to kind of do is you want to build your stones out to the right and then start going up. And you need to do this by looking at the stones that are seated on the board and trying to make sure that you're buying stones that achieve what you want. It's clever. It's clever. It's super easy to teach. It's easy to play. It's and that little puzzle doesn't really emerge. And I explained this to the guys when I was doing the teach. I said the puzzle doesn't really come out until you finished your first game, right? So, and we got to the end of the first game, and everyone looked down and went, "Huh?" Because when the game ended, I think Super Trooper went, "Holy shitballs, that was fast." And he doesn't say shitballs. That's one of mine. But he was blown away how quick the game was to play. But your second game is twice as long because you're spending more time going, okay, where do I want to put these stones? Which stones do I want? What's my plan based on the stones that are out there? Because the first time you're playing, you're like, oh, I'm collecting stones. Stones are pretty. They're on my board. Oh, the game's over. Oh, I have a score. And then your second game, you go, what can I do with this? It's really clever. River Valley Glassworks. I said, the Fox and I, we played our first game. We took this away to Fiji. We played it in Fiji. And we got to the end of the first game. And the Fox is by no means a heavy gamer. But she looked up at the end of the first game and went, that's it? That's a game? And I went, let's play it again, lady. And we played the second game. And she went, I like this. Because the puzzle it's not a furnace puzzle. It's not a calico puzzle. But it's there. And it's also gorgeous. The game is so gorgeous on the table. You've got these acrylic little pebbles and. I think it's a great game. I think it's great. It's fun. It's, you can play with all kinds of people. River Valley Glassworks is by Ben Pinchback, Matt Riddle, Adam Hill, and art is by Andrew Bosley, and you can see Andrew Bosley all over it when you're playing Andrew Bosley of Everdell, of Flock Together. It's got his touch all over it. It's published by All Play. Well done, All Play. It's a great game. So after River Valley Glassworks, I think we had dinner. Everyone ate enough naan that their eyes were falling out of their head, because my naan is like little pillowy, curry collective delights. And there was naan everywhere. When I say there was naan everywhere, I mean there was a lot of naan. There was a lot of naan bread. And so I think everyone gorged themselves. We were full of wine, we were full of curry, we were full of naan. Then after dinner, Voldemort set up El Grande. Now, El Grande is a great game. I won't say mixed. I have kind of mixed feelings about El Grande, largely because I really like it. I have no idea how to win, and I think El Grande's got a little bit of, it's got a little fuck you. It's got a little fuck you in it, and just enough. And don't get me wrong, I like playing El Grande. I won't say I love playing El Grande, but I like it. I can see why it's going to be an evergreen classic. El Grande. So here's the way it works. You've got a hand of, I think, 13 cards, and then go from 1 to 13. And at the start of your turn, you're going to play one face down, and this is your bidding for turn order. And turn order really matters in El Grande, for the record. Like, it really matters, because going last, you just get whatever dregs are left in the market. And so you flip it over, and if I've played a 13, I'm going to get to go first. But there will be no meeples on the 13, because there's a number of meeples on the card as well. And meeples are how you put people out, or there might be one meeple on the 13. So I get to put one meeple out on the board. Now, El Grande is an area control game. So putting one meeple on the board, you might as well just fist yourself in the corner, because there are meeples everywhere on this board. But I do get to go first, and that's meaningful because there are cards in the card market. I think there's one per player. We're playing 5 players, so five cards in the card market, and some of these cards are way more powerful than others. And so you get to draw the card, and the card doesn't go in your hand. That's your other action for the turn. It will tell you what you can do on your turn. So if there's something you really want to do out of the market, you need to be going first. You will only put one little peep out, but you get some cool card action. Then your 13's gone forever. You're left with 1 to 12. Now, playing a 1 means you're going last, but it has 5 peeps on it. It has 5 meeples on it. So you're going to drop 5 people, 5 presents out on the board. And there are rules about where they can go. And so you've got this diminishing hand of cards as the game progresses. Yeah, and then there are 3 intermediate scores. There's 2 intermediate scores and a final scoring. There's also a great big tower that you can dump people into, like the Tower of London. It's like the mystery huzzah. And each round you get to decide on a secret dial where they're going to go, and it scores as well. There's a lot going on. El Grande is fun. It's really fun. It's I think the guys have put a play in for PlayCon in 4 weeks' time. I won't be joining them for that particular game just because I've already played El Grande and I got 50 million other games I'm gagging to play at PlayCon. But El Grande was great, and I played that with Battleships, who is maybe potentially after the game of El Grande, also known as Le Douche. Voldemort, who shall not be named, Super Trooper, myself. Is that it? I thought there were more of us. Oh, and Dustin. Dustin played, yeah, because Dustin was, of course, around the day. We played El Grande. El Grande is by Wolfgang Kramer. Wolfgang Kramer is a prolific designer of games, but also famous for the Kramer track. The Kramer track is the score track that goes around the outside of the board. He created that. Go figure. Wolfgang Kramer. Richard Ulrich, art by a massive team, published by Hans Im Gluck. Do not say meeple in my presence. I'm going to take a pause. You won't notice it, but I'm going to take a pause and go get another cup of coffee. And I think that brought us to the end of, well, by the way, I'm back, caffeinated. I got a fresh cup of coffee for second half, invigorated. I can feel that lovely little dopamine fucking chemical hitting my brains going, wake up, motherfucker. Sunshine's out. It's wake up, sunshine. Kill the day. And that was the end. That was the end of the night. Oh, God, I feel autistic today. Jesus Christ. And, yeah. Curry Night was over for another night. Super Trooper has, I think, 2 main events. He has Curry Night and he has Schnocktoberfest, where we have schnitzels. So later that week, what did I play? Oh, yes. I bought a new game. This happens from time to time. That I'd been eyeing up, and it looked really nice and flowy. And so we played Cities. Cities, which is a little delightful small box game by DeVere. And I played that with the Fox and the Peanut and Lou. We got Lou to the table. Yay! Lou is turning 19 this year. She has a life. God, life. But we got her to the table to play Cities. Now, Cities is really nice. I'll say it's nice. And so in Cities, what you've got is you've got a board, and you're building a city. No spoilers there. You're building a city, and you start with one tile, and the tile has 4 sections in it, and they're color coded. So there might be a city. The 4 squares in there will either be city based, so it's got a little gray border, which means you've got to build buildings on it, or it'll be green for parks, or blue for water. And so what you're going to do is you've got 4 little dudes, and we'll call it worker placement, but using your workers to draft from the main board. So on the main board, you have 4 things you can collect. One is a row of cell phones, mobile phones, and they have a little selfie description on them, a little like pictures you're going to be taking around your city. One is a new set of tiles that go into your city. There's this little tile that has 4 sections on it. One is a row of one is a market for the actual buildings, these nice chunky plastic buildings that are vaguely reminiscent of exploded Monopoly buildings. And the 4th is a series of tile overlays, and these tile overlays go into your parks and your water. So if you're going first, which one of the selections on the board will allow you to go first next round, you get to choose. You're going to put your little peep out, and you're going to go, well, I really want that tile. I really want that tile. So you're going to put your peep out, and you go, I want that tile, and you're going to put it down. It's a little spatial puzzle. You line it up with the tile you've got, and eventually you're going to have a 3x3 tableau of tiles. You can't build 4 in any direction. It has to be 3x3 when you're done. And so you're trying to potentially line up blues and greens. It doesn't matter where the cities go necessarily, unless you've got a little selfie card that says so. And so you line the tile up, and that's your turn. And then you go around the table, and then second round, it's like, well, I want that cluster of buildings. Because your tiles will say, I need red buildings, blue buildings, whatever the case is. And so I'll take those, and I'll put them out. And you will have tile spaces that say this has to have blue buildings, or this has to have red buildings, or this has to have orange buildings, whatever it is. Or the overlays. So the overlays might be, if it's water overlays, there'll be different boats or dolphins or whales, whatever it is. And if it's park overlays, there'll be fountains and paths and all that sort of stuff. And then the selfie cards will say something like, have 3 red buildings, 3 high. And if you do, you get 4 points at the end of the game. So these are all going to be an emergent collection of end game scoring opportunities, some of which you will not have any chance of getting. And so because if there are 4 of you playing, you go around. By the time you get to your 4th turn, there's no choice to be made. You get 3 choices, and then your 4th choice is automatic because you can only use your 4 choices to choose 1 from each row. You can't, for example, take 2 city tiles in a turn. You get 1 of everything each turn. So by the time you've made your 3rd choice, your 4th choice is like, well, that's what I'm taking. That's because that's all I've got left. And so your last turn, if you're last, like dead last, well, there's only one thing left. You don't even get a choice. It's like, well, I'm getting that piece of shit that's left on the board that nobody else wanted. So there's a little bit going on with this in that you've got the spatial puzzle of lining the tiles up. You've got the buildings which you are collecting, and they can stack a maximum of 4 high. They interlock, so they can be 4 high like a little apartment complex. You've got these tile overlays which go into your parks and water. Oh, and there's a 3rd type of tile that goes into city tiles which can change the color of the tile. So if you have a blue building tile and you really don't want to build blue buildings, you can make it wild and you can do whatever you like. And then you've got these selfie cards which overlay, again, another... It might... Oh, and each city has 3 unique goals. So we were playing, I think, New York, and New York said you wanted 2 full long blocks, so a full row of 6 cities all in a row, and need to achieve that twice. And if you did, you take your little scoring marker, you pop it up there, and only the first 3 people to achieve it can score it. Cities is really fun. It's really fun, and it's just brainy enough that it didn't quite break the peanut. The peanut was like, oh, we did get to a point, I think turn 3 or 4, where she's like, what am I supposed to do? I don't know. And so we just had to take a pause and go, well, these are the things you're trying to do. These are the things you can do. And then she hit a second win. She's like, yeah, okay, I got this. And off we went. It's really pretty on the table. It's easy to teach. It's easy to play. It's hard to win. It's hard to win cities because you have this 4-way spatial puzzle that you're kind of building, you know. And it's not Calico, but cities is, again, it's by DeVere. It's in this tidy little box. You got a great big draw bag of chunky buildings, and it looks great. When you're done, you look down, and you know, and Lou, her biggest achievement, she looked down, she went, look, how beautiful does my city look? I'm like, it's great. What did it score? She's like, I don't care. Just look at the majesty of everything that's in my city, and that's great. So scoring at the end as well. You will score. So all your water groups, you get points for the things you've put in there. So in the water, if you put dolphins and boats, whatever the case is, but they have to be different. So if you put 2 boats in that are the same, you only get 1 point. If you put 2 lots of dolphins in, you only get 1 point. It's the same in the park. If you put 2 of the same fountain in, it's 1 point. You put 2 different fountains in, it's 2 points. It's clever. It's got this clever sort of 3-way scoring in each one, but it's not to the point where it makes you want to poke your eyes out. Cities, we like cities. I won't say I love cities, but I liked it. We'll play it anytime. It is by Phil Walker Harding. He had some help from Steve Finn, art by Jorge Redondo, and of course published by DeVere. It's in a game where it's in a box where it just fits. And on top of that, I played a whole lot of Elder Scrolls. More on that later. And those are the games that were, but mostly it was Elder Scrolls. Welcome to FOMOMOFO, where I take you through my personal angst-ridden journey of capitalist acquisitionism. And as always, this is not an exhaustive list of crowdfunding projects, but merely those that have my personal attention, either because they're by a design and development team I like, a theme I enjoy, or because they have pretty toys. Sometimes, hopefully, it's all three. And sweet baby jeebus, it's been a couple of weeks. You want games? You want really freaking expensive games? We got you. They're not all really expensive, but man, there's some pearlers this week. So, rattling through a few, again, as always I say, this is not everything. If you want everything, there are guys that do everything. Shout out to Shelf Clutter, who just retired. Love your work, bro. We'll miss you. Shelf Clutter was great at doing all the updates on all the games, but Board Game Co., maybe Alex. Alex is probably your best bet for the exhaustive list, because he's great at that. But let's start with Inish the Big Box. Now, Inish is a game that I've never played. I don't know how to play. But Inish is something that people freaking love. And so I just flagged it. I'm like, well, I want to see what this is about and have a look. Now, Inish is like kind of an area control, kind of an area majority, kind of it's got a little bit of all kinds of stuff going on. And it looks great. I mean, it looks great. And people love Inish. Inish is, look, I can't tell you a lot about it other than I was watching it. I wanted to see it. I wanted to see what it was about. I'll tell you what's really cool is the big box, Inish the Big Box, the whole game for this crowdfunding campaign, it's $115. Like, that's it. Shipping is another $35. Now, look, if you want coins, we can get coins. It's another $17. You want sleeves? That's another $18. You want minis? Oh, no, you can't have plastic minis. Plastic is so 2024. Inish has metal minis for $83. That's my kind of game, right? Like, ooh, maybe? No. Look, it's not for me just because it's not my thing. I'm not mad for area control-ish kind of stuff. I do love things like Ankh and Blood Rage, and very much looking forward to Avalon the Riven Vale later this year, early next year, 2029, whenever it makes its debut. Interestingly, in their shipping run, Australia is going to be dead last. They've got their timeline of shipping and showing how everything's going out, so they must be shipping it to the US or to Europe and then on shipping from there, from the sounds of it, because Australia is like literally getting it dead last, and we're usually first because we're right on China's doorstep. It looks great. There's a rumor that maybe, just maybe, someone in my gaming group might be buying Inish, which I would not object to. That would be amazing. Inish, check it out. $115 for what is a big box with expansions. I gotta be honest, in 2025 it's peanuts. You know, $115 is, it's not a lot of money. And on from there, Legendary Metal Coins is doing Season 8. If you've never followed Legendary Metal Coins, they come out every year. They do a campaign every year. And every year they release a new series of coins. Their coins are fantastic. They look amazing. And they're not just coins. They've got packets of tokens. So if you're D&D and you want a little token to represent your character, they've got all the tokens. They've got all the races, all the classes. They've got potions. So if you want to have nice, chunky, enamel-colored mana, stamina, and health potions, they've got tokens for Arkham Horror. Not drawback tokens, because Jesus, wouldn't that be great if you had stamped like proper metal enamel drawback tokens for Arkham Horror? Like, oh my god, that would be so hot. Like, that's like half chub territory. They had tokens for like health counters and sanity counters and that sort of stuff, which is still really nice. They're on Kickstarter, and usually when they run, and it's no different this time, you can actually get everything from the previous 7 seasons, and you can order it, and their stuff is super quality, right? You want coins, they've got coins, they got you covered. Legendary Metal Coins Season 8. Look, they're all different price points and that sort of stuff, but if you like coins, I like coins. I'm not ordering anything. I had a really good look. There's nothing I need. I'm hanging out for a restock on the chunky metal bits for SETI, the credit and the credit and whatever the 2 tokens are, because they look freaking amazing. They're like brass on one side and enamel on the other, and so waiting for a restock on those. That'll be my next chunky metal investment. But yeah, Legendary Metal Coins Season 8, can't go wrong. Next one is Tomb Raider: The Crypt of Kronos, which I suspect is the source of Simon's recent cease and desist letter. I love Tomb Raider. I played Tomb Raider on PC when Lara Croft was 6 triangles, and those triangles were so hot. Oh my god. What? Look at the triangles on her. I played Tomb Raider 1. That's how far back my video gaming career goes. Tomb Raider 1, where Lara Croft literally, she was like a fucking polygon. So Tomb Raider: The Crypt of Kronos. Look, it looks pretty good. If you haven't been following it, Simon has recently, they're in the process of putting out a game called The Adventurers. One of the minis in The Adventurers was definitely Lara Croft. I mean, they gave it another name, but that iconic twin pistol, knee up, ponytail flying back, fanny pack, backpack. It was 100% Lara Croft. They got a cease and desist letter from, I'm guessing, whoever owns the Lara Croft IP, because this game is coming out. This is called The Crypt of Kronos. It is a Lara Croft Tomb Raider game. It looks fine. I love Tomb Raider, so I was keeping an eye on it. I guess my impressions of watching the gameplay and looking at the board state is it looks boring. When I finally got my hands on a video to watch, you've got this grid matrix board where, you're pre-populating the island with stuff and you're moving around, and if you get to certain squares, other stuff happens, and you go to another board to do some stuff. You've got these kind of mid-tier minis, which look fine. When I say mid-tier, I'm not shitting on it, right? There's so many beautiful games out there, and given I play so much solo, I like that table presence to be really like roundhouse kick to the head. I love it because that's what I want, that immersion. I want to feel like I'm pushing around. It looks fine. It looks totally good. Iconic Studios, who's the publisher, they've got a small back catalog of boutique IP games. They did a couple of games based on They Live, and if you know the movie They Live, you don't just walk into a bank and chew bubblegum. Look, I think here's my thoughts on it. It looks fun. It looks like I would play it, I would enjoy it, and never play it again. But if you want Tomb Raider and you want the playable version with all the bells and whistles, it comes in at $240 Australian. I don't even care anymore. I'm not even funny. Like, I don't even, $240 Australian for a top production game, and I think that comes with playmats and slightly upgraded pieces and whatever the case is. And that $240 Australian, it comes with $35 shipping, which is wicked cheap. It's wicked cheap. As I said, I don't even care anymore. Charge whatever you need to, you want to. We're buying it anyway. We're like smokers at this point. You put a warning on the game saying this game's too fucking expensive and you're going to be broke. We're like, give me the game. Give me the game. I want to be broke. I don't care. Give me the game. And in the end, it's a no from me, but it's largely because I'm all in for Simon's The Adventurers, and it looks like a much more replayable game than this. In the interim, since recording last, Trismegistus came and went. I think Trismegistus looks awesome. I think the board looks awesome. I think the pieces look amazing. There are these iridescent little weird-shaped metal tokens that represent the metal that you're transmuting and moving around. The dice look fabulous. And Trismegistus looks so good. It looks so good on the table. Like this, the art, the gameplay. It looks great. I can't wait. It's not going to be delivered for like 9 years, but whatever. And if you feel like you missed out on Trismegistus, don't, because the Pledge Manager will be open in 5 minutes, I'm sure. I was all in. I think all in on Trismegistus, which included the Trismegistus Roll and Write, which also looks really great. If you want to see a really great run through on the Roll and Write, Rado did a great run through the other day on the Roll and Write. He actually thinks it's better than Trismegistus, and I think that'll be fun. Might be able to even get the peanut on it. Just see if I can retire Yahtzee. So I think all in. I was all in, which is really just game, sleeves, a few other bits and pieces. And it was 180 Australian, which, I mean, 180 Australian, God, like, it sounds like a lot of money, guys. Every time I say it, 180 bucks for a board game. I look around the bunker and I'm like, holy shit balls, there's probably $20,000 in here. Not really. Like, I'm not bragging, but I'm like, sometimes I look around and I'm like, oh my God, what could I have done with that money? I'm like, I could have bought board games. I did. Wait a minute, I'm okay. It's shipping's more money. I think shipping was another. Well, the Pledge Manager has no. I think shipping is going to be another $35 or $37 for that. Whatever. And then on to, this is a big one. A big one. Well, we got two big ones. We're at the expensive end of the pool. We're at the deep end where, you need to be swimming like Scrooge McDuck. Sorry, I need a bit of coffee. Oh, it is 7:46 on a freezing winter day, and I can't run the heater in the bunker because otherwise all you're going to hear is whoa, whoa, whoa in the background. So here I am, sacrificing it for you guys. All right, up next is one that I was watching anxiously for about 3 months. It's called Dawn of Madness. Now, Dawn of Madness is a game that is already delivered. So Dawn of Madness was a Kickstarter or a crowdfunding from like 4 years ago. This is a game that was huge and ambitious, and I think it was like 4 years ago, maybe even 5, that the Kickstarter launched, and people are just getting their game. Now, they are getting their game. Let me be clear. People are absolutely getting their game, and they are loving the way it looks, and loving the way it feels, and loving the way it plays. Well, I'm assuming they are. But this game launched in crowdfunding with split wave shipping. So Wave 2 ships at the end of this year. And so what they've decided to do, for whatever reason, whether it's because they need a cash injection because this game took way longer and was way more expensive to produce, or whether it's because they're like, well, tariffs, so maybe we'll just go, we'll see if we can get a little extra cash. They've reopened the Pledge Manager after like 4 years. And for people who want to get it. For people who didn't pledge originally, that's me, didn't pledge originally. For people who didn't know about the game originally, that was also me, didn't know about it originally. And so they reopened the Pledge Manager. And it's, look, it's not bringing in squillions, but I think they're at another 600,000 euros or something. And what's going to happen is that when they ship Wave 2 out later this year, or early next year, whenever Wave 2 goes, they're going to ship all of these new pledges, because I'm assuming they've got everything made sitting in a warehouse already, which is really cool. Because if you want Dawn of Madness. Deep Madness is the other IP they do. It's the same realm, same world. If you want Dawn of Madness, you can they're pretty confident, given they've already delivered the game. I don't have any reason to doubt them. You're going to get it this year. Not in 5 years. This is not a reprint. This is a jump on board. We've got plenty of stock, I'm assuming, and pledge. So, Dawn of Madness. Dawn of Madness is like this uber horror narrative game. And I really love playing Arkham Horror with Super Trooper. We play Arkham Horror, and I think the storytelling, the gameplay is pretty light. It's like I'm going to move in, I'm going to pull a token, I'm going to either collect that little magnifying glass, or I'm going to get fucked. And then I'm going to do a fight, and I'm probably going to die. and I'm getting a little crazier. Like, Arkham Horror is a game of attrition, right? It's like, can you hold on by your fingernails to the end of the game, or are you going to be disemboweled in session 5? Dawn of Madness has all that in a much more robust, I say robust, I'll use a simple word, much more complicated gaming system. When I say complicated, there's a lot more going on. Now, yes, you've got dice to deal with. You've got all these different colors that of tokens that you're using, and they're your dice mitigation. You've got cards that are dice mitigation. You've got all these things that are going on, and the art is sexy as fuck. Oh, Jesus Christ, it looks so dark. It looks so dark. Like, I'm a mad Clive Barker fan from way back, and it gives me Clive Barker vibes. Like, it is just, this is not a game for kids or even, I think they rate it 16 and up. This game is dark. Like, this is not just dark in color, but dark in story and narrative, and it looks amazing. The production looks off the charts. You've got this board on the table with, I think it's 16 rooms in it, and the art in the rooms is amazing. Then you immediately draw cards for the scenario and then cover the rooms up. Great. It's just a nice little touch. So they could have just put 16 blank squares out there, but no, there are 16 grim dark spaces that you fill with 16 cards that are also grim dark. And as the game progresses, you're going to flip those over for the end game, and they become something else. There are these gruesome, very adult minis that stomp around the board trying to gut you and rip you to pieces, and you're losing your mind as you go. And when you die, your character spawns like an abomination, or I can't remember what it's called. It's like a mutated version of yourself that then you have to fight before you can go on. It looks so good. I'm not gonna lie, it looks so good. And I watched, because I have spent a bit of money on this one. Well, I will be, thanks to Stretch Pay. I watched a lot of videos, because I really wanted to make sure that this is something that was going to suit me. And because I'm trying to make sure that I'm bringing balance to my collection. I've got a lot of Euros, and I love Euros. I got a lot of Euros. I haven't played yet. I say a lot. There's like 12 I've never played. Super Troopers got a lot of Euros that we've never played. And so I'm trying to, I guess, make sure I bolster that with stuff that I can throw on the table, like Elder Scrolls, and go down the rabbit hole and just come out 3 days later with a great experience. And for me, Dawn of Madness looks like that game. I'm not going to say it's an Arkham Horror killer, because Arkham Horror has its own vibe and its own thread and its own bit of love, and I really love Arkham Horror. But I think this is going to be just have a little more, meat with the potatoes, and there's a gorgeous playmat, and there are metal enamel tokens for all of your little mitigation bits, and minis and the campaign comes out with 2 little storage chests, one that holds every single expansion that's coming with it, one that holds every mini from every expansion. So you've got 2 little boxes. Not little boxes, 2 big boxes that literally hold everything. Whew, the only thing I haven't gone for is sleeves, because it's like 10 bazillion cards, because this is Dawn of Madness, the complete collection. There's quite a few expansions in there. There's nothing new coming out with this campaign, and they've been very clear. They're like, there's no stretch goals with this, guys, because that would slow down our delivery. We want to get this to you this year. So it's get on board, and off we go. And there's a lot in there. And so I think the base game comes with 4 Wanderers, and each Wanderer has 4 possible endings, because when you start a game, you choose a Wanderer, you go, well, we have other Wanderers that are playing, but we're playing this Wanderer's story, and each Wanderer's story has 4 possible endings, if you make it that far. So even the base game, if you just want the base game, it does come with minis. The base game comes with minis, like their core game is a mini game. I can't remember how much it is. I didn't get the base game. I think it was like 140, 150 bucks. But that's 4 Wanderers with 4 endings. That's 16 possible endings. A game of Dawn of Madness is 10 hours. Right? So that's where it's not actually a game. Each game is like a little mini campaign, like Arkham Horror. Arkham Horror, you can sit down, you can play 2 or 3 scenarios in a day, then you put it away, you come back to it. Dawn of Madness, you can play 2 or 3 rounds. Allegedly, a round of the game, a single round of the game is around an hour. Now, I think if I'm playing solo, I've watched the gameplay. I don't see how a round is going to take me an hour because I'm not relying on integration of decisions from multiple people at the table. Maybe it will be. I actually think this is the kind of thing that Super Trooper would really like. I think, given our Arkham Horror shared background, well, his background that he sort of foisted onto me, which I then loved and mobilized as my own sort of love, I actually think he'd really enjoy it. But I think solo, as I said, there's no integration of decisions. There's no conversation. It's the puzzle on the board that I'm solving myself. I would think it's probably going to be half that time, maybe 5-6 hours. And given I have this big, beautiful bunker, I can just leave it on the table and come back to it. There is a save system with it where you can save stuff, put it away, whatever the case is, which I believe the original release did not have. So good on them for launching that. Dawn of Madness. Yeah. So, here we go. I've got some notes. So the core game is $149 US, so 240 Australian. There's a lot of game in there. As I said, 16 possible outcomes. That's 160 hours of gameplay for the core game, right? So if you want it all in, well, all in I think is closer to 800 Australian. Let me be clear, I am not all in. I'm not all in. I'm somewhere between base game and all in. And shipping for the all in is $150. Okay, $150 in shipping. Oh my Christ! Right, but that said, it's only like 17% or something because I imagine this is a lot of boxes. Dawn of Madness. I have Dawn of Madness coming at some point, and very much looking forward to it. And then we are on to Agricola, the playable version. Oh my Christ! You want FOMO? You want FOMO? Yay! You want some FOMO? I got FOMO here. Look, hey, psst, hey, buddy, I got some FOMO. You had FOMO today? I got FOMO for you. Here we go. Agricola, the playable version. Now, I've never played Agricola. Now, that's probably a crime. I get it. Project L has Agricola. She's going to loan me Agricola. It's Agricola, the brown version with cubes. I will get that. I will play it. I will probably try the Fox on it, see how she goes with it. I would love to play Agricola. Agricola is an uber classic, right? It's been around, I think Agricola's been around 20 years. It's got 19 expansions, which are all just extra cards. Awaken Realms has turned their attention to Agricola. So, will I play my first game of Agricola on the $300 version? No. However, I will not lie. I'm not going to tell a lie. This has been in my cart, out of my cart, in my cart, out of my cart. Oh man, it does look good. Like, they're making the brownest of brown Euros look great. Like, I've got the Castles of Burgundy playable version. I love the Castles of Burgundy playable version. I really love Castles of Burgundy. I think it's a great game. When I made my notes the other day, this was ticking over 2 million euros. So they're going to be fine. This is their typical Awaken Realms setup where you can get the base game for $8, but no one's going to buy the base game. It's not really $8. Okay, I'm just feeling like a cheeky motherfucker today. I think the basic version, as in the basic version with nice bits, not the cardboard version, because they've got a cardboard version. They've got a cardboard version that 187 people have backed. Now, I'm assuming they've backed it because they're fine with cardboard and they're trying to save money. And good for you. 187 people have backed this. I'm calling them conscientious objectors to this acquisitionism. But the next version up, which has the first level of nice bits, is $135 Australian. I'm not going to lie. That's a pretty good price. That's all wood, I think, from memory. It's like wooden bits, wooden enemy pulls, wooden fences, all the wood. It's the all wooden version. And it looks really nice. It does. And what's gone in and out of my cart, is, oh no, tell a lie. It's $180. It's $180 Australian for the nice wooden version. It's still $180. That's what I paid for Trismegistus, and this is Agricola with 1,600 cards. 1,600 cards. 1,600 cards. What the shit? 1,600 cards. So $180. And it's got, the nice wooden bits. Acrylic tokens. If you want to add them, they're nice. If you want to add the 3D resources, they're nice. They're very reasonable, I think. And then if you want to get them, what do they call it? Sundrop, ink washed, whatever the case is. They're a little more. I think it's sitting at around $300 by then. You know, shipping's $53 on 300, which is fine. That's like 17-18%. We can live with that. That's gone in my cart, out of my cart. It's like the hokey fucking pokey. You put it in your cart, you take it out of your cart, and you shake your head in doubt. No, I don't need Agricola. I've never played Agricola. Do I need a $300 version of a game I've never played? Maybe. It's a maybe. We got this rule in the house. It's not a rule. It's kind of a gentle agreement between the fox and I. It's like, I've got every year. There's Christmas and there's my birthday. It happens every year. Every year I get a year older and there's Christmas. And we don't buy each other gifts anymore because, we don't need anything. But like twice a year, I get to play the card of, I want this to be my Christmas gift for next year. She's like, yeah, sure, whatevs. Go for it. So it's like, do I want this as my Christmas gift for next year? Maybe. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Dawn of Madness is my birthday gift for next year. Dawn of Madness, yeah. So and the reason that's important... finances, money. I have a board game account. I get to put a certain amount of money in there for my joint finances every week. It's not technically a board game account. It's spending money. We have this very adult rule that if we want to go out for coffee, want to go out for lunch, and we're not together, then we have a budget for that. If I want to go out to lunch with my friends, or if I want to go out and buy a coffee, or if I want to, and we're not together, then it comes out of these individual accounts, and we have some money that goes into each of our accounts every month, every week, and I just hoard mine like Smaug on a pile of gold coins for board games. And, it's great. It's wonderful. It's a great system, and my beautiful wife uses it for pedicures and whatever else, and coffees out and lunch with her friends, and that's how we do it. So I want something like Dawn of Madness. I'm like, hey, this is going to be my birthday gift for next year. She's like, fill your boots, kid. Whatever. You're great in bed. I'm happy to no, she doesn't say that. I mean, I am, but she doesn't say that. Not out loud. She just loves me because we're married and we like each other. So the question is, do I want Agricola, the playable version, for my Christmas gift next year? It's a maybe. Probably not. I'd say probably not because farming. Okay, like this is where it comes down to for me. It's like because farming, like honestly, if it was mining for minerals in the in the moons of Jupiter, I'd be like, whoa, Agricola in space, yeah, shit, yeah, hit me, acrylic tokens for asteroids, and it's farming, and I get it's a great game. And everyone loves Agricola, and it's got a long history, and I totally get that. I'm not crapping on it. But $300 for farming? Still a maybe. Also, for noting, there is an all-in that is $757 Australian. Sweet baby Jesus. And next year, Agricola Zombies is coming out. So, there's that. Agricola Zombies. I don't know what Dead Harvest is. It's called Agricola Dead Harvest. It's coming out next year by Awakened Realms. I'm assuming it's going to be a similar size box. See? Farming and zombies. I don't know whether they're trying to beat you to the corn or I don't know what's happening. But farming and zombies? Woo! That's a maybe. Anyway. You want FOMO. You want games. The world is your oyster. I look at the sort of roster, what's coming, and I go, what tariffs? Like, it's game on, guys.
Boxes on the doorstep, new delights inside. Heaven's on fire, fields to divide.
This week on Incoming! No games. But for those that know me, and you're all starting to know me, or you do know me by now, and people in my personal life, I'm a mad Batman fan. In the bunker, I have a neon bat signal. I've got the Lego tumbler kit in a beautiful acrylic case. I love my tumbler. My board gaming chair is a Secret Lab chair that's Dark Knight themed. I love me some Batman. I did splash out this week, and I brought 2 more Batmobiles into the bunker. So I got the Robert Pattinson, the Batman Batmobile, which is gorgeous. It's on the table. It's half assembled now. And they released a classic Batmobile from 1966. Now, I grew up on Adam West and Burt Ward, Cesar Romero as the Riddler. Oh man, Burgess Meredith as the Penguin. No, Cesar Romero, not the Riddler. Jesus Christ, Cesar Romero was the Joker. Burgess Meredith as the Penguin. Man, like the original Batman series, I love. Kapow, zap, wow. I loved it. I would get home from school, I would watch it. It'd be a cliffhanger. They'd be hanging over a vat of acid with sharks with freaking laser beams on their heads. Oh! So I've got the classic 1966 Batmobile in here as well. So by the end of the next couple of weeks, I don't race through these. I set them up on the table. I do like an hour a day because once these things are put together, that's the experience done. And I really enjoy it. Being a man baby with money in my pocket, I can do man baby things like buy toys. And so 2 new Batmobiles arrived last week with acrylic cases. I will be setting those up. I'll post some photos to Facebook when they're done. Maybe some work in progress photos. I don't know. I love it. Love me some Batman. So there will be 3 Batmobiles in here. That's incoming. No games. I've got pre-orders out. I've got all kinds of stuff coming. Nothing else has arrived.
Voices in my head, I'm talking to myself. What board game should I get down off the shelf? What should we do? What game should we play? What steel and wood will use work us to pay?
This week on Voices in My Head, I have now played enough sessions, games, whatever you want to call them, of Elder Scrolls Betrayal of the Second Era that I want to have a chat about this little baby that lives in here. When I say little baby, it is the single heaviest box I have other than the Trove Chest. Now the Trove Chest is heavier because it has, I don't know, that's the Trove Chest is the storage case for Too Many Bones, and it has my Trove Chest. It has the base game, it has 2 expansions, it has 10 extra gear locks and all the bits in it, and of course everything's heavy plastic neoprene. The Trove Chest, I don't think I could even move it. I'd have to unload it to get it out of the Calyx. But the Elder Scrolls box is the single heaviest box that I have in this room. I think it's 12, 13 kilos for a box. I don't know how cardboard can withstand that kind of mass. But forget the weight of it. Let's talk about the gameplay. So Elder Scrolls Betrayal of the Second Era is basically Too Many Bones 2.0 with Elder Scrolls, I won't even say glued on top. Like, it's so integrated, right? And I am a mad Elder Scrolls fan. Loved Morrowind, loved Oblivion, currently playing the Oblivion remaster, loved Skyrim. I still go back every year and dump 20, 30 hours into Skyrim. I fire it up and it's like muscle memory. You know, you remember where everything is and Fustora! Like, it never gets old to me. And so, Elder Scrolls Betrayal of the Second Era, they've taken their Too Many Bones system and they have injected anabolic steroids into it. It is in a good way, right? It's the Arnold version of Too Many Bones. It's stronger. It'll break your back. It's so good. It's so good. And I'm not going to talk about the gameplay so much because there are a million videos out there if you want to learn about the gameplay of Elder Scrolls. What I want to talk about is how it feels. Because it feels like I'm playing Skyrim. It feels like I'm playing Oblivion or Morrowind. It feels like it. Not just the art, but the way it unfolds. So Elder Scrolls ostensibly plays over 3 sessions. And a session is a chapter. You've got sort of session 1, session 2, and then you go into end game. Now, the end game session is, it can be very brief, or if you make it that far. So basically, you start in one of the, I think it's 6 different provinces. You open the Gazette up. You're going to choose your character, just like you would in Skyrim. You're going to choose your class and your race and your starting stats. You're going to choose a starting skill, and off you go. And it's just like in Skyrim, you know, or I remember Morrowind getting out in, what was the name of the town? God. I can remember the town with the Silt Strider sitting there, and the first thing you got to do is go fetch this dude's ring out of a stump, and you know, the only action you have is right trigger, swing your dagger. Right trigger, swing your dagger. Right trigger, swing your dagger. Okay? You feel that in this game. You've only got one sort of skill. You're out there and you encounter a scamp, whatever it is. Scamps. Remember scamps? Mud crabs? You encounter those and you get out there and you got your dice and you roll your dice and you roll your dice again and you roll your dice again and the scamp dies. You're like, fuck yeah, I killed a scamp. You get a little experience. Ooh, I got experience. Now, we don't have to go to a town to take new levels of stuff. You got to go to a town to train new skills, so you can save those experience, or you can dump them straight into your board to get more dice. So, you know, for example, if I want to have another combat die, which lets me swing my dagger a little harder, I can drop some experience into my board, upgrade, get a combat die. If I want another health point, I can drop some experience in there, get another health point. And if I want a little more magicka, a little more stamina. And that's how it starts. because that's where all your, I remember, your first 5 levels in Morrowind, your first 5 levels in Oblivion, you're out there just grinding to just get a little more life, a little more stamina, a little more magicka. Oh, I can only throw that fireball once and I'm out of magicka. It has that same feel of that. And it's not grindy because it's only, 40 minutes of the game. You're out and you're doing your first couple little encounters. And there are plenty of non-combat encounters. Dudes who want you to take this pouch to my friend in Vlondibler. And so you get to Vlondibler and you achieve the quest. You get a little bit of experience, a little flavor text. It's so good. Because an hour and a half into your first session, you're like, well, I now have a bow and arrow, or I now have a shield bash, or I now have this Daedric magic, which allows me to enchant my weapons, or I have illusion skills, and so you layer one more thing in, and all of a sudden you've got 2 things or 3 things to choose from, and you play a little more, and you play a little more, and you're traveling around the province, and each province has its own set of rules, and each province has its own set of native skills for the people, for the if you draw a chip out of the bag for a native baddie, and it just unfolds. So by the end of your first session or chapter, whatever you want to call it, because there's 3 really in the game, you've learned your character, you've learned the nuance of the character you're playing, you've learned how to integrate the skills you've invested in and maybe balance them, because it's very sandboxy in that regard. You want to be a Khajiit who's a burglar who has acrobatics and speech. Now, speech is one of the most useless skills I love speech in Oblivion. It wasn't that great in Skyrim or Morrowind, but speech in Oblivion is fantastic because you can just farm the shit out of it, and all of a sudden people will just do whatever you want. Speechcraft in Elder Scrolls allows you to basically turn baddies to your cause. So it's like a summon. You can basically either intimidate or convince someone that's on the battlefield to fight for you. All of a sudden, speechcraft has a real value, because speechcraft was pretty much useless in Morrowind and Skyrim. Oh, wow. Some people get about go, Hammers, speechcraft is the bomb. You didn't invest in speechcraft. You're a loser. No, I invested in lockpicking, because, oh my god. And you want lockpicking? There's lockpicking. There's lockpicking in Elder Scrolls. And so you finish your first session. You got a character who's blooming a little. They got a little more hit points. They're a little stronger. They've got a few things. Items everywhere. You want items? Whoa, items everywhere. There's so many items. Items. And you can, yeah. So you start your second session, and all of a sudden you're starting your second session, which moves to a different province usually. So you get a change in the base rule set. You get a change in what they call the overland mechanics. You get a change in card decks, because every province has its own set of cards that integrate with the encounters that are unique to that province. Their own set of baddies, which don't have a lot of difference in them, if I'm being honest. But now that it's Skyrim, like, what were there, 20 different bad guys in Skyrim? Right? They just had different skins or different colors on them depending where you were. What I'm getting at is it feels like an Elder Scrolls game. You start your second session and you're a little bolder. You're not just right trigger, swing the dagger, right trigger, swing the dagger. You're now right trigger, swing the dagger, fireball, enchant, a stealth. There's a great stealth mechanic where you can engage in stealth mode, and anything that wasn't next to you at the start of your turn has no idea where you are. So if you're getting swarmed, you can take a step away, drop a stealth die, and all of a sudden you're invisible. You get a little breathing room. There's so much in here that feels like a real Elder Scrolls game. And so by the end of your second session, and here's the thing with Skyrim. Like, I love Skyrim, I love Oblivion, I love Morrowind. By the time you get to level 20, you're just unstoppable, right? You walk into a dungeon, you're like, fuck it, I'm just going to take these steel arrows and some attitude into this dungeon, and you can have Draugrs, and you can have vampires, and whatever, blah, blah, and you're like, just suck it. Here's a fireball, here's frost magic, here's a wave, I'm just gonna pause and drink 17 potions, grip, eat it, right? Like, oh, by the way, I have this pile of stew that I could just stop in the middle of a battle, sit down, have a bowl of stew, and I'm fine, and I'm stronger, and it has that feel too. And I'm not saying it feels easy, but you get halfway through second session, and it is just like, all right, what are we gonna do with this? Because you're stronger relative to what's going on around you. And don't get me wrong, the game ramps up like too many bones. The amount of baddies, the level of baddies you're dealing with, it ramps up really nicely. My best run. I finished my best run. I did a whole campaign, all 3 sessions, finished it last week. I got to the end game. I got to the last scenario of the end game. And I think I was, at a guess, maybe within 2 turns of potentially winning. Spoiler, I did not. I did not win. That's my best run on this. I don't even care, right? I had a peek at the epilogue, and it's like, well, the epilogue it's fine. It's like, well, you did this, now you're going to go. Because it's not about the finish line. It's about the journey from... It's about the journey. What's that Miley Cyrus one where they stitch in diarrhea? It's about the journey. It really is. It's not about crossing the finish line, because it's the narrative along the way. Which, don't get me wrong, we're not talking about Arkham Horror level narrative or ATO or Earlsworn, because the narrative is emergent in these individual card encounters. But it's like it's the experience of going through those sessions, not the conclusion of them, which is, the joy. I think this game has huge barriers to entry. Huge. I think that, I don't know how many bazillions their campaign went for, but I think if you haven't played Too Many Bones, I think you're going to need a guide to get in. You're going to need a guide to get into this game, because the gameplay it's not ATO level complexity, but there is a shitload going on in this game. There's a lot of interwoven parts. Now, the battle mechanics, the loop's really easy. You're going to move. You're going to take a turn. You're going to roll some dice to do an attack. You want to do a second attack this turn. You take a little fatigue, which, everyone remembers stamina. You're swinging your sword. You're jumping. You're running. Your stamina goes down. You take a little fatigue, and you're going to attack again. And you can do it again. Take a little more fatigue. You can do it again. And then at the start of your next turn, some of those dice that you spent are going to return back to your pool to use. It's a delightful push-pull, in that how many times can I push myself this turn to get the benefit before I cripple myself for a whole turn. And then all the baddies are going to act. They're going to move. They're going to follow the rule set for the keywords that are on the chips. And you rinse, repeat. It is a delightful combat puzzle. And it's one that they've, I played my first time two-handed. I played my second time true solo. I think because I played my first one two-handed, and I got absolutely wiped at the end, partway through the second session. And I think I'm ready to go back to two-handed and really just take my time with these battles and really unpick them and go through with them. But true solo is fantastic. But the barriers to entry are real. I think if you don't have any experience with Too Many Bones, you can absolutely do it. There's some amazing videos out there. Diced has a full tutorial on how to take a turn, how to get through, how to not survive, but how to survive the mechanics. The replayability in this is crazy. It's crazy because there are like 6 provinces. Each one plays different. There are, 8 classes, 5, 6 races, and you can build it sandboxy from the start. This just tastes like Skyrim. Yeah, it's great, guys. I don't want to spend the time talking about the gameplay loop or the gameplay, because there are lots of guys that will do that way better than me. But if you like Elder Scrolls and you can get past the barriers to entry because you want to and you're motivated to, this is an exceptional gaming experience. Absolutely exceptional. Now, I haven't played with other people, but Too Many Bones I can see being hard to play well with other people unless everyone loved Too Many Bones. Elder Scrolls, I think if you're playing with other Elder Scrolls fans or other RPG fans, it'd be a piece of cake. You just need to have somebody who's a curator of sort of not game mastering it, but just guiding everyone through the first session. And this is what it looks like, and this is how the turns work. I do think if you put it away for 3 months, you're going to be going through that learning curve again, right? I can see that if I put this away for 3 months or 4 months and bring it back out, but I have 2 years of Too Many Bones, so it shouldn't be too hard. Elder Scrolls Betrayal of the Second Era, worth the wait. Absolutely worth the wait. They're talking about a couple more provinces coming out into this year. I'm not even sure I would get them, to be honest, because there's so much game in this box. So much. And of course, chip theory, top shelf production. There's more plastic in there than all of the Kardashians put together. And, it's going to last forever. That is it for Voices in My Head. On to the clap. This week's clap, Jesus H, mothered, holy God. If you are in the US, like, how you doing? Are you okay? Like, and I don't mean like that rudely. I'm like, are you guys okay? Because this week's clap goes to Godzilla versus Kong and the destruction of the cities. This is Elon versus Trump. Like, what the shit? Honestly, this is like two monkeys throwing poo at each other at this point, right? Like, I just can't even. This is the leader of the United States and the dude from Megamind, right? Like, just absolutely going ape shit. Man, my heart goes out to you. Like, just the uncertainty of, you know, the big beautiful bill that will make sure that 30 million Americans don't get Medicaid. I don't know if that number's right, but man, come to Canada, guys. Just run the border. It's okay. We'll stamp your hand and let you go, right? We'll stamp your hand and say check in 3 weeks. Oh. And that concludes this week's therapy session. Thank you, OMC crew, for your listening ear, your guiding hand, and your gentle touch. Not sure what I'm going to be gaming this week. I know I've got a Friday with Super Trooper. I've got a day in lieu, day off work. So I think we're probably going to be back down the Euro rabbit hole. But if no one else is available, we might try and squeeze an ATO day in. It's not a full long day, but we'll see. You reach me on the socials. Find me on Facebook. Email me, Instagram, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, you can help OMC by dropping me a like on Facebook or Instagram. Leave a review on whatever platform you choose. If it's a bad review, I will cry myself to sleep and get over it. This week's episode has been brought to you by the sweet, sweet pain of sleep. I've decided at this age, at 51, I fucking hate sleeping. Honestly, like I sleep and then I'm up at 2 and then you can do the midnight run and you gotta pee at 2 in the morning. Like at 51, I don't know what happens. Your bladder just goes, fuck this shit. You're on your own, buddy. And then you toss and you turn, you get up. I said to the Fox the other day, I'm like, I think I'm just gonna give up. I'm just gonna sleep 5 hours and get up and go play board games and go record another podcast or whatever. Ugh. Thank you as always for your time. Your time is precious, and the fact that you choose to waste an hour of it listening to how I spend my time is always humbling. Until next time, get your game on. Even if you got to play with yourself, you're worth it. Peace out, mofos.
Locked in the bunker, shadows shake. One man clapping secrets awake. Board games live in dice they break. Echoes pound and hearts they quake. In the bunker, board games rolling. One man clapping, stories growing. Hard rock thunder, speakers blowing. Clapping loud, the unknown sound.
I should quit my job. That's a good idea. I'm going to quit my job.